welcome back to another fabulous video on my channel. I'm Jake from Jay's Books Corner, and today we are talking about my March wrap-up. The way the March wrap-up is going to work is I'm going to review the books as I read them. So we're going to see if this is going to be a quicker way or if the video is going to end up being longer. I don't know. It really just depends on how many books. Either way, I finished my first book of the month. I started at the end of February and I finished it on the second day of March. And that was Patricia Wants to Cuddle by Samantha Allen. This I saw, I want to say, Kayla reading in a vlog, and it looked super fun, very funny, kind of like obsolete, maybe a book I wouldn't remember in like 6 months type of thing. It ended up running at about 4.25 for me, but in my review I do say, based if I ever do end up reading this, it could be a 5, because part of the fun is not knowing when the actual plot of the book is going to begin, which was nice. I love a book set on a TV show set with like unlikable celebrities and stuff, and this knocks everything out of the park. It has the characters you hate, the characters you love, with a full audiobook cast if you want to listen to it. The book itself is also good. I did a little bit of both. Overall, really worked for me. So this is about a group of reality stars who are on a TV show called like The Crush or something along those lines. It's like The Bachelor type of thing, and so you have all these girls, and you're in the final like 2 weeks of the show is when the book begins. They're going through the show, they're describing what the show is, and you're getting all these different points of view of these women trying to fight for this man's love. Well, basically they're trying to fight for the glory of the winning of the TV show and what it could do for them, not so much for the love itself. And so this is a different take. I've read several other things similar to this. I've read books where it's a similar premise where they're actually fighting for love. I've read books where it's like this, where it's just a bunch of influencers fighting for it. There's also a B storyline with someone hunting for someone who got lost out in the woods, and then there's a thread in the book as well, people talking about like on Reddit, and so you get to hear that text change as well. And overall, I really liked it. I liked the characters. I loved the writing. I think the title is absolutely fucking perfect. The right amount to make it like a horror comedy. Alright, moving on to my next one. We have 2 books to wrap up today, so let's wrap them up. The first one is Don't Fear the Reaper, which I read for a video for my 5-star prediction vlog. It came out in February, and I finally got around to it, and it was beautiful. It was perfect. It was everything I ever wanted in a slasher novel. Truly perfect. That was a 5. Masterclass, gonna be in my top 10 of the year. I highly doubt. I don't doubt it at all. That was great. That one follows a girl who ends up going back to her hometown after an incident with the first book. This is a sequel. After the incident of the first book, she ends up going home and new murders are taking place and she's there to help solve it. I really like the character arc, and like this is true development. I've been reading a lot of things here lately where the development is very weak, very minuscule. This was not the case. Yay for us. Moving on, the next one we talk about is Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke and Other Novels by Eric DeLosa. I just finished this. Literally I came in recording this like right after. I gave it a 2. I'm half tempted to give it like a 1.75. A lot of my friends love this. Like a lot of like my Goodreads friends, and even I have like a real life person who recommended this to me, who said it was like one of their favorite things they've ever read, which disturbs me nonetheless. I like disturbing, horrifying, and darkly things. This just did not do it for me personally. I think it's probably the lines. I felt like, I don't know, do you ever just like you're reading something and this one is full dialogue, it's written in emails and it's written in chat rooms and stuff, and you just don't believe the people are actually speaking? Okay, I got an example for you. This is a kiddie one. You know when you rearrange your shelves and you're just like, where is that book? Well, I was going to use The Fault in Our Stars. A lot of people complain about that with John Green's writing, that they have such outlandish dialogue. That's how I felt here. I felt like no one would talk this way. Even smart people don't talk this way. That's how like unrealistic it felt. So I just felt like the dialogue was too unrealistic, and the emails just felt a little too heavy-handed, and I felt like because there isn't a lot of time in this relationship, I think it probably covers like 2 or 3 months of their lives, maybe a little longer than that, maybe 4 months of their lives, these 2 girls who end up IMing and emailing back and forth about an apple peeler, that I feel like there's not enough time for the escalation that happens from point A to point B, in my opinion. It also, hate to say it, felt like it was written by a man. I feel like if this story was written by a woman, I would have probably gave it a 4. But it's not, and you can tell. And I hate to be that person. But that's okay. I still think the writing is really pretty. I definitely would read other works by this author. I'm not calling it quits. Technically, I guess I did read other works and I didn't like them either. I would read other things that are not in this genre, this basing of this short story collection. I would do something different. I would read something different. This one came out to be about 300 pages. I read it between today and yesterday, so it's fast. And it definitely took an escalation turn that I did not see coming. I highly recommend looking at the triggers. And like I said, some people that we truly love on BookTube absolutely adore this. So please do go into caution, but if you want to read it, you can get your hands on a copy. I don't not recommend. It just wasn't for me. It just wasn't my personal taste. I'm here to wrap up a few more books. Let's go ahead and jump into it. This will be in the order that I read them in, and I'll be looking down at a sheet of paper. The book will pop up on the screen unless I own it. Let's get started. The first one we're going to talk about, We Have Love and More, number 2. This is a series I talked about last month that I had started at the very end of the month. So We Have Love and More, number 2. Love and More, number 2 is a book. Love and More is like set over in a fantasy land where tug of war is like the main sport, and there's this guy who had a crush, or who had a thing with another guy, and he ends up going over to the competing side, and then there's this new guy that he might think maybe there's something, and so there's like awkward love triangle-y stuff. It's a comic sexology original, and it gave me Heartstopper vibes. It still gives me Heartstopper vibes. Heartstopper is better. Heartstopper is better. But I gave this issue number 2 a 4 out of 5. Not bad. The next we have is October Black Widow. That's fine. Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. This is book 1 in the last hours. I was really hoping to get through the entirety of the last hours this month, and to be fair, I could circle back around. There's nothing stopping me. I don't know. I got out of my kick. Really annoying. The moral of the story is, though, this was a 5. It gave it initially a 3.25, and so this got a major upgrade for me with the reread. I'm going to talk about it in 2 different videos, one coming out in April, 2 coming out in April. Both Shadowhunter videos will come out in April. I might push the one till May now, just because I'm having another one already come out in April. I don't know yet, though. We will see where Jacob's head is out. There's a lot of videos I have planned for April, and we'll see which ones make the final cut. Either way, I talked about there. This is the first book in the Last Hour series, which is the 4th series in the Shadowhunter world. This is about the kids of Tessa, Jem, and Will, and that's all I'll tell you. Everything else is a spoiler in my opinion, and I recommend you starting in publication order, and so you won't get to this in a long time, but it's really good. It's like really fucking good. Especially, like, it's so good in timeline order, though. Like, I recommend in publication order. That's how I recommend Shadowhunters through and through for your first read. But timeline order changed this entire book. And I'm super excited to read that. I just haven't gotten to yet. Then I did a reread of Six of Crows in Crooked Kingdom. So let's talk about Six of Crows first. Six of Crows is the first book in the Six Crow duology by Lee Bardugo. This follows 6 delinquents as they come together to pull off a heist, and Crooked Kingdom is the sequel. Lee Bardugo decided to switch from her first-person writing into a third-person writing with about 6 or 7 main characters for it. I have a whole review about it, so I'll link it up in the cards in case you guys are curious. Six of Crows, I ended up with a 4 on my reread, and Crooked Kingdom actually ended up being a 5, which was great. Overall, I don't love these books as much as I would love like Shadow and Bone, but to be fair, these are just as good, if not better, than the last book in Shadow and Bone. What am I to say? And then lastly, the book I just got done reading today is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. This is for a video coming out next month. I had to get pushed for reasons I can't talk about, but it will come out next month. I had started it before I pushed that video, and it was great. This is phenomenal. It follows a girl as she is trying to get into flight school after being labeled a coward's daughter because her dad decided to leave the fleet and get shot down in seventh space, and it's like this political warfare, but it's a lot about like battles and friendship and camaraderie, and it's really beautiful. Like really, really beautiful, and I gave it a 5. I almost made me cry. It was great. Fucking phenomenal, one would say. So, alright, those are the ones I had to update you so far. Talk about my final book I read this month, and then close out this wrap-up. So, the final book I read was Razor Blade Tears by S.A. Cosby. I will actually be doing a video on this in the month of April, so if you guys want more in-depth thoughts, I'll give them there, but I'm just going to tell you my overall thoughts and opinions. It was a total 5 out of 5 stars. I've been nervous to pick this up because I've heard it was very dark, and it deals with some very sensitive topics and things, and so I always get a little anxious about it. Some people that I follow either gave it a 5 or a 4 or a 3, and so it seemed to be a little bit mixed across the board, and honestly I was just really looking for a high octane fast action like revenge novel, and this delivered on every account. It had the big shootouts, it had the amazing character development, and it had everything I wanted in it, with such beautiful writing and such beautiful conversations about race, homophobia, and a whole bunch of other stuff. The story follows two dads, one black, one white, as their sons are brutally murdered, and they go on a revenge rampage to get revenge, is essentially what it is. Yeah, I gave it a 5, which is amazing. Another 5 stars for the month. And let's go ahead and talk about our final totals and our tallies and stuff, and then go ahead and close it. In the month of March, I read a total of 9 books, of which calculated to 3,523 pages. 5 of those were adult, 4 of those were YA. I read 0 middle grade. I had 4 5 stars, 4 4 stars, 1 2 star, and 0 threes and like 0 DNFs and stuff. 3 of them are thrillers / mysteries. 3 of them are fantasy. 1 of them was sci-fi. 0 of them are poetry. 2 of them are graphic novel and or a comic. 3 are horror and 5 are gay. Always a fun stat. And yeah, that's my wrap up. Let me know what you guys read in the month of March. Which one was your favorite? I'm gonna say probably my favorite was Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I think I had the best time reading that one outside of like my rereads and stuff. Alright, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you guys like the style of wrap up where I'm coming in kind of throughout the month and updating you and wrapping up the books instead of sitting down with like one long video? Well, it's the same amount of length for you, but like where I'm just like, it's just me one time and I talk about them at the end of the month. Let me know in the comments down below as I'm curious to see, and I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and goodbye.